Okay, so before I tell you what's going on, I want to finish up our chicks that I told you about for the last, oh gosh, probably almost a week now. So as you know, we just incubated some chicks. We had 21 eggs and only got 2 chicks out of it. Now, I've explained in these previous videos that we think the rooster has been rejected by the hens. We had an established flock and our rooster broke his foot, so we had to put him out of his misery and we got a new rooster. And it just appears that this rooster has not been accepted by the hens. I've told you in previous videos that he doesn't get up on the roost anymore at night, and usually the rooster is the ruler of the roost. He tells everybody else where to go. Well, he sleeps on the floor in the chicken coop now. Has for a long time. And if you watch him, I mean, look at him. Right now, all the chicks or the hens, well, he's moving, maybe, I hope I don't scare him. But all the hens are underneath the little house, and he stands outside. He's not welcomed in there. So that's the rooster right there. Now they may come out. Yeah, they're gonna come out because they think I'm gonna feed them. But this is the rooster right here, and he was out here by himself. And you can see that they're getting on top of him because his feathers are missing. So when you look at the hens, their feathers aren't missing on their back tails, like that one over there. Not one feather is missing. So I think he has been rejected. So he didn't fertilize a lot of eggs. We think he fertilized 3 out of those 21 and two made it. Well, we decided that we needed more chicks than that, obviously, because we're wanting to get into this rotation where we're butchering the oldest group every 3rd year. So when I say 3rd year, they'll be 3 years old. So every year we have a new flock of chicks, a 2nd year, and a 3rd year. That 3rd year will get butchered. Well, these probably will get butchered in the fall. So we need chicks to replace them and to start producing eggs in August. So we went and got some chicks. Went to the local farmer, and she had Americanas, or Easter eggers, she calls them Easter eggers. And she had speckled Sussex, I think is how you pronounce it, that were the same age as the 2 chicks that we got. So we went ahead and got 20 of them. That meant that we had 22 total because of the 2 that we had. 2 died, and they were the 2 smallest. One died in between me waking up and Carolyn waking up. So in between 4:30 and probably 7:30, one died. And then later, Carolyn saw a sick one. She picked it up, tried to nurse it, and it died in her hands. But those were the 2 smallest. Not sure what happened to them, but everybody else is kicking and pretty happy and eating well, drinking well, staying warm. Now, we've done a lot of research about keeping the chicks warm. And we feel like that a lot of people may be spending too many resources on keeping the chicks warm. They put a heat lamp down in there, and they say that the first week the chicks are supposed to be at 95 degrees, the next week at 90 degrees, the next week at 85 degrees. Well, I don't know if that's true. We put a water bottle, we've always put a hot water bottle, and when we fill it up, it's about 140 degrees. So you would think that would be warm enough, but they get right up next to it. But on the other hand, they go out and play and everything. So here's what they're saying, is if your chicks are huddled together, trying to keep each other warm, they're too cold. Normally, that's what they try to say. If they're chirping and out and running around and eating, they're too cold. So they got to be able to go back in and warm up. Well, from what I've researched, they can survive at cooler temperatures, and that huddling is not a bad thing. Now, we've done this for 3 years. This is our 3rd year, I think, we've done it. Doesn't matter. We've done it several times without a heat lamp. We've done water bottles. Well, this year, we're stepping it up. We're tired of having them inside the tiny house. So we decided we're going to move them out to the camper. Well, the camper doesn't have a heater in it. We could use the buddy heater, But the buddy heater uses propane. Now there is an oxygen sensor on it that will shut it off if carbon monoxide gets too high in there. But that thing is set for human consumption. We're not sure about chicks. We don't want to kill them with carbon monoxide, so we don't want to run the buddy heater. We have a little 200 watt heater, but that's a lot of electricity. So what we decided to do is buy a little heat plate. Now you're not going to be able to see it very good, but it's just a plate with legs on it. And it's 30 watts, which is fantastic. That's like 2.5 amps, depending on how many volts I got going into the batteries. How much? So if the batteries are at almost 15 volts, 15 times 2 is 30 watts. 15 volts times 2 amps is 30 watts. So you drop that down to 12 and it's like, 2.3 amps. That we can do pretty easy all night long. So it's adjustable, this plate, so it sits over on top of them. And as they grow, you raise it up. The heat plate, depending on the temperature outside, can get from 120 to 140 degrees. So outside temperature needs to be anywhere from 80 to 50 degrees. Well, it's going to get a little colder than that on a couple nights. Tonight we'll be in the 50s, but I think tomorrow night we're going to be at 45 degrees. So we're going to have to keep an eye on it. So I have a little thermometer out there, and the thing is it takes forever for this thing to heat up. It's only 30 watts, so obviously it's a real slow draw, and I have no problems with that. So it took an hour. It says in instructions it's going to take an hour. So it's been an hour and probably a half now, maybe, and we finally got it up to 79 degrees. So about every 10 minutes it goes up to a degree. So the bottom number down there is what I'm showing you. The top number is the outside temperature, but that was in my pocket. So the 83 degrees is for my pocket, but the 79 degrees is the temperature that heat plate is at right now. So I have the heat plate, and right underneath it I have the sending unit, the remote control sending unit underneath that heat plate in a Ziploc bag. So I'm going to take you in here so you can see our setup. And now we're going to keep a close eye on that temperature. If it gets too cold, obviously, we'll bring them inside. So we have this bed in here. Now I know the trolls are absolutely going to just abuse the heck out of me. You're disgusting. Why would you bring chicks into your camper? Well, we don't use this room. This room is just for storage. So instead of them being in a tiny house cramping us up, we figured, hey, why not use this? And there's a piece of plastic down on the floor that is easily to clean. It's real thick plastic, so we'll be able to scrub it really easy with bleach and all that stuff, and we can sweep it. So the neat thing is this raises up. So immediately you can see the chickens, and they're all out. So the heat plate you're not going to be able to see. This is a cat carrier right here. We got a little curtain over it, and right here you might be able to see the heat plate, and underneath the heat plate you might see a chick. I think you can see all that. And so you put your hand on the heat plate, it'll burn you. Yeah, it's real hot. So the reason Carolyn put it in there is kind of hold that temperature in there even more. And it seems to be working. So she's obviously got all the wood chips in here. And we put them all in there to start with. They were all in there. She didn't move them. They didn't come out until we brought the light out. Once we brought the light out, they all started coming out. I mean, obviously we got one in there. So they're out playing and eating. Now, you got to understand, in this camper, it is 60 degrees. What I don't understand is if they have to be warm at 95 degrees, then why aren't they inside trying to stay warm? They're not. They're out here eating. And they're quite happy. I mean, they look like they're just having a great time. So I don't think it's necessarily true that you got to keep them at 95 degrees for that first week. You got to give them a spot to warm up, which we have, but they spend most of their time outside of that, even when they were in the house. So we're gonna leave them in here, and I can come out and check them regularly, but that thermometer I'm going to take into the house, so we'll always have it monitored. We'll always know exactly what's going on. And then we have these lights. I showed you these lights before. These are grow lights for plants. We used to use them for seedlings, but we don't use it anymore except for the light now. It's LED. These are pretty nice. Don't use a lot of electricity. And Carolyn at night crochets to them. When we're not crocheting, we don't have any lights on other than the phone and the tablet. So now over there she's got alfalfa. That's what they're eating over there. And then over here she's got regular chick food. They love that alfalfa. So this should hold them a lot better than what we had before. This is going to give them a lot of room. Even as they grow, they'll have plenty of room, plenty of playtime. Now we may have to take this chick plate out when they get bigger, because that chick plate will, I don't know if you can see the legs, as they grow you can raise that chick plate up higher, so it won't go up any higher with it inside the crate. But that's okay, because by the time they get to that size they don't need to be as warm. If we can keep them around 80 degrees. Plus, you got to understand, the temperature outside is going to get warmer and warmer. Right now, we're pretty cold, but we should be getting warmer soon. I mean, we're coming up on Easter, so we should be consistently in the 40s and 50s at night. So, she had to move out. We're just, I think we're to a point of saturation with chickens. It's not that we're tired. Well, I guess we're not tired of doing them, but they're just, the only reason we have them now is for the eggs. They're a job now. They're not pleasurable. They're not fun to do for us anymore. We've done it, and all the joy is gone from it now. So we just do it because they're farm animals. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video where I was showing you them inside. So I hope I can inspire you to figure out things when you're living your dreams. Thanks for watching.